Hey guys, welcome to Cinebounds. Today we'll be talking about the Geelong Cats in our mid-season review / report card series. Big J, how you doing today, mate?
I'm great. How you doing, Joe?
Yeah, good. Really excited to talk about the reigning premiers.
hmm
Obviously, everyone every year is always counting against them, trying to think, are they finally done? But we'll actually see what the statistics have to say, right?
Yeah, for a team that didn't get Hopper and Taranto in the trade period, they've done pretty well, right? Like Dangerfield's been on and off. They've got no Selwood. The forward line's been, Hawkins and Cameron have come off injuries every so often. So, mate, if this was my team, if I was a Geelong supporter, I'd be pretty happy mid-season.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Despite all of the things that have come against them in terms of their
hmm
team and availability, they have done a really good job to be currently where they are in 8th position with 6 wins and 6 losses, a decent percentage of 118.9%. And certainly part of the reason why you'd be up and about still and confident as a Geelong supporter is despite all their injuries, they are capable of taking it up to a really hot, in-form Western Bulldog side at Marvel Stadium and still get the dub.
Yeah, it's one of the things that, as we'll talk about a little bit later, them kind of cycling out older players, putting in new talent for the future, being able to still compete with those better teams, the guys that are here and now, mate, it's just impressive. And that 118 average is going to help them a lot in the later part of the year because the ladder is so tight at the moment.
It really is, and we predicted that that was going to be the case at the start of the year. We could
hmm
see that the competition is really equalizing. A lot of teams, there are definitely more than 8 teams that are capable of playing finals, and that percentage is going to come in super clutch. And it's always getting built off. And normally, in Geelong's case, it really is the offense. When you look at those twin towers in
hmm
Hawkins and Jeremy Cameron, and you can see their offensive rating is second in the league.
Yeah, it's those two, but it's also the smaller players like Tyson Stengel as well. These guys that, your defenders are looking at the big tall guys, the small player runs around the back, gets the ball, kicks a goal. It's really hard to defend against. As you say, rating second for offense and then 8th for defense. So not as even, but a lot better than some of the teams in the league. Tom Stewart's doing well. SDK probably hasn't stood up as much as what he has last year. And they're still trying to work out maybe another tall or so to kind of cover that position. Radigaleo has been fantastic, but the last couple of weeks, maybe he's fallen off, and that's probably leading to that rating there. They're 11th for coaches' votes at the moment, and their leading goal kicker is Jeremy Cameron. Mate, 38 goals is bonkers. Some teams probably haven't kicked 38 goals their whole season so far. And he's kicked 38 by himself. That's almost triple some of the numbers that we've seen already. Like some teams have 11 and 12, 13, 14 as
Yeah,
their leading goal kicker. He's kicking 3 goals a game, Joe.
yeah. He is our Geelong Cat mid-season star for this team. He is honestly. There are times where I genuinely believe that they are the Geelong Camerons and not the Geelong Cats because he does so much for that side, and the statistics they don't lie. He's elite in just about every metric, apart
Yeah.
from maybe contested marks that you could be as a forward. 3.2 goals a game, 18 disposals, and of them, 14 of them are kicks. So they're not like cheap little handballs. He's actually getting involved higher up the ground. He's taken 3 marks inside 50 a game, and not only that, he's also kicking inside 50. He's elite for that, kicking 4 of them a game. So this
Yeah.
guy, he is an absolute superstar, one of the greatest forwards, 100% of the modern era. Some of the things that he does is absolutely unreal, and his combination with Hawkins, truly one of the best duos in probably in the history of the league.
Yeah. GWS got 3 first-round picks. Looking at those stats, mate, maybe they should have gone for 4 first-round picks because this guy's a freak. Like, he is single-handedly, he's able to put the Geelong team on his back, say,
Yeah.
give me the ball. Mate, what can you do except for, like, watch and just be in awe?
Oh, 100%. And, there was a lot of discussion early in the year. Is this guy the best player in the competition. If you ask Ponmi and Oz, or 100% of that, it's King Charlie. King Charlie Cameron is better than Jeremy Cameron. I don't know, guys. You let us know in the comments below. I'm firmly in team Jeremy here. Jeremy is number one for Jeremy.
Yeah, you just can't compete. This guy is a freak, man. And he just carries the Geelong team on their back. You know, they're having a bad game. Kick it to Cameron. Let's go.
100%. He works up the ground, takes intercepts. But there is someone else who, unfortunately, probably needs to take a leaf out of his book and step up in order to take a bit more ownership. He's a senior leader, senior player on the team, and that's Jed Buse, right?
Yeah, 100%. Getting a bit older. I think he's almost in his 30s now. Has been a mainstay in that Geelong backline, but they'll need to find some real cover for him over the next couple of years. If this trend kind of keeps going, he's one of the reasons why they're below average. Well, not below average, but they're 8th in the defensive rating. Below average disposals at 10.5, below average rebound 50s at 1.5 a game, so really not that much. It's understandable in the Geelong team as Tom Stewart and others get the ball a lot more, but it has to be shared around, right? Below average 1v1s, which is pretty atrocious. Average intercepts per game, so 5.4 is not terrible, but average intercept marks, which isn't great. I think he's one that likes to punch the ball out instead of going for the mark and kind of rebounding there, and that's shown by the stats today.
Yeah, 100%. They are changing their defensive structure. They've sent SDK forward to have a lot more forward time this year, which I think is really interesting. I don't quite. I mean, Chris Scott must be really confident in his back line having Asava back there, because he's basically swapped them over. Asava is now playing in the back line and SDK playing forward, and I don't think he's getting the most out of SDK by playing him in that position. He almost won the Rising Star, if not for Nick Dacos's freakish existence last year. So, look, Jed Buse, a lot is probably requested of him, being a senior player in his 30s, and as you can see, he's very well built. He should not be getting outmarked, or he should not be getting beaten in a 1v1 situation where he's below average in. So if he can lift, it's always in a contending team. It's always the bottom part of the team, not the top 6, might be always the bottom 6. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And if every player on that Geelong team can increase their ability to win their 1v1s, it will go a long way to defending their premiership.
Totally agree with you there.
So we will give them an overall grade of a B. What do you think?
I think that's pretty fair. As it says here, they've had some injuries. They're kind of cycling out a few of the older players, and but they're not the only team that's dealing with those. They have had some pretty terrible losses, though. We know how the Blues are going. When we pull up their review, we're going to roast them. The Suns have been doing all right. But losses against GWS, Freo, who hasn't been the greatest team this year, and the Tigers, who are kind of a little bit older, they need to pick up wins in those games. That's why they're 8th. That's why they're not higher on the ladder. But as we say, they have been giving a lot of exposure to the young kids. And even guys like Mullen, who've just come in the last couple of weeks as well. Cycling out players, building for the future, keeping Geelong competitive. Mate, they've been competitive since the early 2000s. They always try and make finals. They always do well. They kick goals and they play exciting footy. So it's doing well for them. If they didn't have the injuries, they'd probably be a bit higher on the ladder and higher in our grade as well.
For sure. These guys are probably the best run organisation in Australian sport, not just football. It's Australian sport in general. They're probably up there with Melbourne Storm in terms of how well they run their teams. It's something ridiculous, and the Cats are always finding ways. Despite being a really old team, having won the premiership, they were still able to rejuvenate their list over the off season, over the pre-season, get a lot of young talent, get some draft picks in, and they're giving them exposure. Guys like Tanner Bruin now being, key components of the list, and they've still got players like Brian Myers. He's one of those terrific players as well, just being given a lot of responsibility, and he's not very old himself. So their future, despite being old, their future is still ridiculously bright, and it pisses me off to no end. Hurry up and die, Geelong. Far out. I'm sick and tired of you winning all the time, you hooped bastards. But yes,
can't be we have to be objective, Joe.
I am objective. I'm objectively pissed off at how good they are. But congratulations. If you're a Geelong supporter, I am very, very envious of you. And that brings our mid-season report card / review of the Geelong Cats. Let us know in the comments below if you think that we were too harsh, too lenient. If you give us, someone you think Jed Buse we're being too harsh on Jed Buse, let us know either way in the comments down below.
Yeah, 100%. And remember, guys, here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so you don't have to. Bye for now.